welcome back. It's a special episode here on Beyond the Mirror Ball. This episode is my first official announcement of my prospect list for season 35 of Dancing with the Stars. I have been working on this since the last season was on because I was already like, well, hang on a second. First off, I did this last year. I got one right. But I think I had a really solid list of people from last year. So some of them, I'm like looking at my list. There's like 2 that I'm bringing from that one onto this one. And otherwise I have new people. So without further ado, let's dive into this. But a couple reminders. First, I dressed up for you guys. I don't really do this. I hope it looks okay. My tan from being outside all the time. It is what it is. Get comfy, get cozy, have something to take notes so that you can message me your thoughts on my prospect list for season 35. And in true Beyond the Mirror Ball Melina ways, grab a drink of choice. I suggest a glass of wine, but water works, Diet Coke works, coffee works, anything that makes your heart happy in this moment, because we are going to get into it. Salud. Okay, before I start dropping some names for you guys, a couple things. 1, this is my thoughts, my opinions, my guesses. They don't have to match with yours. You don't have to even understand why I picked them, although I am going to explain why I picked them. Just keep that in mind. Also, there is a mixture of people that I selfishly would love nothing more to see on the show, and I do think that they would do well. But then there are some people on this list that I personally think strategically would do well. Now, when casting on shows, and Dina is obviously a pro at this, but if she's looking for any assistance, I would love to be that. But you have to think business-wise, right? It's not just about like who's the popular person, although that helps. Popularity is definitely taken into consideration, but business decisions have to be made. How relevant is this person right now? How relevant were they if they're from the past? What is their fan base like? What is their headlines like? Can they bring new viewers and a new fan base to the show? While so many of them do bring new views and new fans, sometimes when those people leave, we need to fill that gap in. Now, there are times when someone comes to the show and they watch it just for that particular contestant, and then we've created a new fan. Many of you last season for season 34, you were new to Dancing with the Stars because The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives brought you over. And some of you are hanging around, and I love that. But some of you are like, that's okay. My favorite is done, and I'm gonna move on. So you always have to have that business, like who's gonna bring the ratings. Ratings equal money, equal jobs, equal another season. You have to have the strategic mindset in place. It's not always gonna be who's favorite. You're not always going to pick the well-liked person, but you might pick the person that has relevance regardless of good or bad. So with that being said, let's start this video. Let's start this video with saying something I've talked about in my walk and talks, but it was almost a given that the Bachelorette, who was slated to be Taylor Frankie Paul, almost is a shoo-in for Dancing with the Stars. So many thought we were going to see her on the show this coming up season. And I talked about it with you guys on Walk and Talk. I had talked about it a lot with you guys in the messages. And for me, for my list, I have removed her. 1, I don't think Networks will take that chance with her at least this season. There's always next season though. And 2, it's a mixture of both moral support and then business decisions. So I have pulled her, and it all happened so fast. I have not sat down to think, is there anyone else from Bachelor Nation that would be a viable fill-in as we're approaching the new show. You know, they're still trying to figure out all of that nonsense, but in the meantime, Dancing with the Stars, they're already sending out contracts and asking people if they want to do it. And so it's like, is there anyone within the entity already, or the Bachelor Nation alumni world, that would do it? And sure, there are people that like could do it, but I didn't put enough effort into sitting down and figuring that out. But that will be ready for the next list. I'll have someone in mind. The next person I'm going to put on, well, the first person I'm putting on my list, but the next person we're going to talk about is someone that I've been vocal over on my Instagram and Facebook already, is T-Pain. Y'all, can you just close your eyes and imagine the magical moments that could come of T-Pain being on Dancing with the Stars season 35. Now, I have said that. I've tagged him in things. He has seen them. Never communicated beyond that, but he has seen them. So he knows I'm out here pushing for him. However, I got pulled back a little bit on it because last month he did a video basically saying that he was burnt out and that he didn't know how long he was removing himself from a couple of festivals that he was in. Anything that had like a smaller relevance or a smaller paycheck, he was stepping back from. The man has been nothing but go, go, go since he entered the world 20 years ago. Entered the world in like as a rapper and whatnot, and it's over 20 years. So with that being said, I'm still putting him on my list and I'm still wishful thinking. But there is like a little asterisk next to it because I don't know how long, and he didn't know how long in his video he did where he was going to take this break. Good for him, by the way, but T-Pain, I need you good to go by July of this year so that you can start training, or August, and get you ready, because Dancing with the Stars, man, you would be phenomenal. Real quick, touching on it, I'm not going to guess any like partnerships, although T-Pain and Britt would be amazing. I'm going to save my pro guess and my partnerships for down the road. But yeah, T-Pain. Okay, next up on my list is more of a strategic person. And although I would really like to see her on it, Elizabeth Smart. She is a public figure. She was well known and most famously known for being kidnapped when she was a young girl. And she escaped her kidnappers, was it like a couple years later? And she now is a huge advocate for it. She public speaks on it. She just had a documentary come out beginning of the year, maybe end of last year, about her time and her kidnapping and all of that. And I just think it would be really neat to have her on there and then be more of like a public figure, motivational speaker. They sometimes have that like category, and I think she would be an excellent option. My next choice would be Gia from many of you know her from New Jersey Housewives. She's now on a new Bravo show, which I forgot to write down, which is the life of Bravo kids growing up, like entering adulthood. She was also in Special Forces. Her mom's Teresa Gudic, that's who Gia is. Teresa has been on Dancing with the Stars in the past. I think Gia would crush it, absolutely crush it. I think it would be great for her career. So it's a little bit of both strategic and personal. I think I would love to see her on it. But she was just on the latest episode of Special Forces, or not episode, season. And oftentimes Dina will pull from the other shows that she casts for. So if I were to look at Special Forces, I know I've talked with some of you and you have other choices that you would do for Special Forces, but for me, I think Gia would be an amazing selection. Okay, let's talk on some athletes, because I do think this season will have 2 to 4 athletes on it. I 100% believe there will be 2 Winter Olympian stars on it. I personally think it will be a man and a woman, and there are a lot. I mean, the list of contenders, especially you guys sent me a whole bunch of people that you would love to see. and there are some phenomenal. It was really hard for me to pick two. Many of you know that I had vouched for Lindsey Vonn as being on the show, and I even said as long as she doesn't result in any injuries from the Olympics, and we all know how that unfolded. So Lindsey would be a great option depending on what her recovery looks like for her injury, and if her doctor will allow her to do the extensive work that needs to be done through that. But I did technically remove her and put in place the Olympic figure skating married couple, Madison Chalk and Evan Bates. And I went with them because, one, the two of them are amazing. Two, figure skaters always do very well on the show. And three, Dancing with the Stars is heavily the pros as of now. There are several married or dating couples on the show. So it's been a while since we've done a married couple versus a married couple. And I think it would be the right time for that. So those are the two Olympians I went with. And I know many of you were waiting to see who I was going to decide on. I had great conversations with so many of you, and many of you gave me great perspectives and insights on why you would want to see X, Y, and Z. And there really was so many to choose from. It was really hard for me to go with this. But I think the married couple versus the married couple were due for that. So that's why I ultimately went with these two. Other athletes that I see in the running. Now, all three of these that I have on my list, schedules, there would have to be a lot of logistics that go into it because all three of them, their careers have something to do with still being active. And I know that all three of them have, okay, well, let me just get to it. So one of them is Jackson Olsen, the Savannah Bananas baseball player. He has been extremely vocal in wanting to do it, and I think he would be amazing. I also think he would bring in a new group or wave of fans. However, the Savannah Bananas play through the fall time, I believe. So I don't know what that logistics would look like. Where there's a will, there's a way. It just depends on what Dancing with the Stars wants to do when it comes to that, and also what that looks like for the contestant if they want to do it. You have to keep in mind Dancing with the Stars schedule for these contestants is living and breathing Dancing with the Stars. So there's really not a lot of time in between all of it, but it has been done in the past, and can be done again if there's a will and there's a way. Okay, so my other two are former football players. One of them, if he doesn't do it, he has an umbrella of options from his family. Many of you want someone from the Kelsey family to be on the show, specifically Jason. And I actually had Jason on my list last year. I think Jason would be amazing, hilarious, for sure bring a new realm of fans to the ballroom. But he does commentate for football games and travels for that. So again, the scheduling and logistics of that, not to mention he's got, the 3 kids at home, 4. Are they up to 4? I think they're up to 4. But if Jason's not available or doesn't want to do it, you have Mama Kelsey and Kylie Kelsey. One of them, mom or wife, would be a great option as well. So there's someone from the Kelsey fam could do it and should do it. Travis is obviously going to be playing football. Can't do that. And Taylor's not a Kelsey yet, although I don't know that Taylor would ever do Dancing with the Stars. But you're bringing in, if you bring one and you bring all of their fan bases in. Mama Kelsey was just on the Traders. She showed her fans love her, absolutely love her. And so that's already shown. Again, the Traders is a Dina casted show. Oftentimes someone from the Traders goes onto the show. So Mama Kelsey would be a great selection as well. And then Kylie is very relevant in the female world. She has her podcast. She's oftentimes on her husband's podcast. She holds her own in many, many ways, and she would be a fantastic person to be on the show as well. My other football player that I think would be amazing is both also personal and strategic, and he himself has already said he would love to be on the show. So that lets us know that he would be willing to be flexible in what that scheduling and strategic life would be like to make it work, because he also does a lot of things during the football season too. He commentates, he hosts, things like that. Rob Gronkowski, y'all know he would be so good on the show. He has said he wants to do it. His girlfriend has said he wants to do it, and he would be a lot of fun. I would think he would take it seriously and really put the work into it. But he is, known as being funny and whatnot. So it would be interesting. I think it would be a good bet to bet on. But yeah, so those are my athletes. Yeah. Do you have any athletes you would add to it? I'm sure you are. By the way, we did basketball last season, so they usually jump around. So I think it'll be a football season mixed in with, they throw a baseball player in there every once in a while, but for sure the Olympians will be in there. Okay, another person, I'm not familiar with them. I didn't get into the show, but I know they are very relevant. I know many of you are hoping that he will do it. And this was someone that I really just based it a lot of what I'm hearing. And that is from Heated Rivalry, Connie Story. Am I saying that right? He has expressed that he would love to learn ballroom dancing, that he would be on Dancing with the Stars. And many of you ate that up. Many of you feel like he would be fantastic on the show. A lot of you, again, I'm not trying to pinpoint pros or anything just yet, but I will say many of you hoped that he would be the first. He would be with Ezra, and they would be the first male duo, because we've had Jenna and JoJo already do the female duo. So, okay, so my last strategic, also personal choice, but I think strategically would make sense for her to be on it, is Christy Carlson Romano, aka Kim Possible. Christy has been vying to be on this show for years, literally years, and for one reason or another has never panned out. She was not on the most recent Special Forces, but I guess we're in the season before. So not this season, but the season before, she was on Special Forces. Shortly after that, she had got shot in the face while pigeon hunting, I believe. It's fine. There are a couple things to take in mind. So Christy recently announced just last month that they did a couple random tests just to be sure when it came to cancer screening, and she had abnormal results come back, and she is waiting to do more testing to kind of see where everything lies, which is extremely scary. The unknown is, gosh, so scary. But depending on what those results are, what that means for a recovery plan, things like that, if the doctor gave her the all good to go, I think she'd be great. The only thing is just yesterday, so she has her memoir coming out, something that she's been working on. I don't really get into memoirs, but I am excited to read this one. She announced the date that it's coming out yesterday, and it's in October, which means more oftentimes than not, the author goes on a book tour to promote it, to, thank the fans, all of the things that's just the common thing to do. I don't know what that schedule would look like. I don't know how it would work if she wasn't it, because Dancing with the Stars is definitely on in the heat of things in October. So it would be interesting to see what that schedule will look like, how it will unfold. I think the girl is for sure overdue on being on the show. She is, oftentimes they try to find a Disney star, or she was also on Even Stevens. I forgot to say that. And she still has a following. She just filmed her first Hallmark movie. So I think this is the year for her to do it. It would make sense, but we'll see. Next up, we have the Traitors winner, Rob Roush. Up until the finale, many of you were like, Rob's got to be on Dancing with the Stars. He'll be so good. And while I agree, I was telling all of you, I did not think the man does not like Hollywood. He doesn't like being in the public eye. He's very private. And if you've known him since his Love Island days, you are aware of that. Like when we saw him out and about, it was basically someone was paying him to be there, and it was few and far between. And so he, however, he won the show. He went on his press junket tour, and many people brought up, like, would you do Dancing with the Stars? And he said, yes, like, call me, let's talk it out, let's figure it out, and that he would be open to it. So seeing his interviews and seeing multiple times him saying, yeah, I'd be interested in it, he is on my list. So I think him or Mama Kelsey would be like the Traitors representation. And I do think he would do, I think when Rob has a determination and there is an end result of something that aligns with what he wants or would make him happy, he is determined. So if they can give him something juicy, worthy enough, I think he would consider it. I think it would be a great option. But I also fear, like, would he get bored? Would he, like, check out? How would that work? Because he's also the same guy that once he's checked out, right? So, but yeah, he is on my list. Okay, this next person was on my list last year. She is for sure, hands down, a controversial choice. I think, first off, Dancing with the Stars has definitely started to, they make controversial decisions for this. It's ratings. You got to think about that, right? You don't always have to like the person, but you're going to want to see what they're doing, right? So this person, I think, I said it last year, I'm sticking with her this year as my controversial choice. Miss Gypsy Rose. And funny enough, she's been on my list. I already knew she was going to be on my list. Just a couple weeks ago, she made like a TikTok of her dancing. Now, again, I don't have TikTok, so if she's done it before, I didn't see it, but she shared her TikTok on Instagram of her dancing, and in her comments, people were saying, like, you should try to go and Dancing with the Stars, and she's like, I would if they call, if they call me, I will. I think it would be the level of controversy that Anna was. Gypsy has no middle ground. You either love her or you hate her. Well, I take that back. The middle ground is confusion. There's complexity with how you feel about her. And I feel like almost anyone I've had conversations with Gypsy on feels this way. You are pulled two things can be true. You feel awful for her. The way she was raised, even if at the time she didn't realize was not normal. You feel awful for what she knew her life to be put through so much unnecessarily, to have a mom who had such severe mental illness that was not being taken care of. You feel for her, right? Like, you can't help but feel for her. In the same breath, she didn't hurt her mom, but she made all the plans for it. There's so much complexity that goes into it. And I think that emotion would be what Dancing with the Stars would hone in on. And that in itself would cause chaos, both good and bad. So she is my definite decision in the controversy side of things. I don't know. I thought for sure she was going to be on it last year. maybe this year's her year. My last three people are more of just like my personal opinions. I think would be good. They would be fun to see them on there. And why not? Dave Matthews. I don't think that he would actually ever do it, but never say never, right? I say that all the time. I'm a huge Dave Matthews fan. I don't know what his tour looks like come, July, August, September, October, November, December, but it would be cool to see. He's, a little bit older. He has a whole different fan base. I just think he would be a really great choice, and I personally would love to see him on there. My other personal choice that I think would be really good, a nostalgic person, Walter Jones. He was the guy who played the Black Power Ranger in the original series, and I think he would be really good. Someone from the 90s, we love to tap into our childhood. We haven't had a Power Rangers on there, and he's one. There's only a small handful left of the originals, and so I think he would be great, and I think he's fun. He has a little, his fan base. He does a lot of the conventions, the cons, things like that, and he has he's big on the podcast scene, so I think that would be a lot of fun to see him on there. Okay, I have two more to go. One of them is from someone I had. It is someone I had on my list last year. I truly think she would do so well in the show. She would be so well received. She is so loved. And I think this year would be a really good year for her on a personal level. I have followed her all these years, big fan of her. Miss Beverly Mitchell from Seventh Heaven. I think she would do wonderful. She was on Special Forces 2 seasons ago. She was just on Worst Cook Ever with Val. And so she has that connection. And I just know that on a personal level, she's going through, as most of us do in our 40s or upper 30s, 40s, even 50s, trying to find that like momentum of like how we feel good about ourselves and doing the best that we can, self-care, all of those things. And I think this would be a pivotal year for her to be on it. So, Beverly, I'm rooting for you. Last, but certainly not least, I don't think that she would do it, especially this year. This girl has just really, really grown as an actress. She's doing big things, and I know she's got a lot of projects already lined up, so I don't even know that this year would be good for her logistically, but at some point or another, I think McKenna Grace would be absolutely phenomenal on Disney of the Stars. I love her personality. I love her determination. She has proven since she was a young child that you give her a project and she's going to crush it. And so I think it would be fun to see her on there. I don't think people know how quirky she is unless you actually follow her and get to know her, see her kind of her personality through her interviews, things like that. But I think on a personal choice level that she would be fantastic at it. And that officially wraps up my season 35 prospects list round 1. This may change, this may not change, but I will do another one of these in the end of May, beginning of June, and put out there if I've changed anybody. By that point, we should have at least one confirmed. Typically around that May area, we get the first one. So, hopefully by then we have one and I can kind of maybe see what direction we're going in. But yeah, this is where I'm at. I put time, I put research into it. I feel good about it. So with that being said, feel free to leave comments down in the comment box. Shoot me a message over on Facebook or Instagram. Share with your friends. Get some insight. Share with me what everyone has to say. I'm looking forward to chatting with you guys, hearing what you have to think about my choices. Do you agree? Do you not agree? Is there someone on here that you absolutely would hate to see on here? Is there someone on here that you absolutely would love to see on the show? Let me know. I look forward to chatting with you. Bye.